You're listening to the New World to Go podcast with your hosts, Redbyrd and BDLG.
Hello and welcome to another episode of New World to Go. I'm your host, Redbyrd, and with me is BDLG. Bordy, the March update's live and out, and we have a ton of things to talk about. We just got some recent news even right before the show started. So we're going to share all that with you guys in this episode. Bordy, let's hop right in here with the news. All right, so basically, we just got news that there is a Twitch drop, or not a Twitch drop, sorry, a Twitch Prime. What are they called?
Prime Gaming.
Prime Gaming. What?
Yeah,
a skin.
It's called. Yeah, skin. The Prime Gaming Vested Harmonizer is what this one's called. Yeah.
Yeah, and so don't forget, if you have Twitch Prime or Prime Gaming, go over and claim that. It's an okay skin. It's free, so you should well pick it up, and you get some currency to maybe buy a skin that you also want out of the store, or a tent skin or weapon skin or whatever you want, Bordy. You can do whatever you want with the money.
Yeah, that's right. From now until May the 2nd, 5,000 marks of fortune, and you get the Vested Harmonizer skin. It looks okay, man. It's like a Robin Hood-esque type skin. I don't know. It's got like the Robin Hood type hat. It's all right, man. Probably not something I'm going to wear, but it's free, so you can't complain. And 5,000 marks of fortune. Hey, dude, I'm in.
Yeah, that's like a half a skin. Or what? You can buy an emote. You can buy the disco emote, the new disco emote. It's pretty fire. We're going to talk a little bit about the store stuff that they put in with this update now as well. Bordy, a lot of different skins they put in during the March update. They always do this. It seems like they kind of tie these together. I would find it, I think, more fun if they maybe separated this from the actual patch day. And maybe give us a little bit of something else to be hyped about at certain times instead of just dropping it all in our lap at once. But there is new store items. Dude, I love, what is the one I have? It's like the Red Riding Hood mocking skin.
Red Ripping Hood.
Yeah, Red Ripping Hood. Dude, it's right up my alley. Lots of cool stuff. They have the Easter tent and all the Easter items as well. I'm not like... I love that people put up their ice bed and everything and their Easter bunny out on the porch for everybody to see as you pass through Winsford. But this isn't the housing items this time around are not something I'm interested in. I'm holding out for Halloween, dude. I'm holding out for the Halloween drop.
Yeah, I think there'll be some cool drops during Halloween. I have seen a few of these like herbalist homes, the tent skin. It looks pretty cool in game, but it's very like fluorescent, very Easter colors. Your kind of your light greens, light pinks, light yellow type of fluorescent colors. You guys can go to newworld.com and check out all of the skins there. They have them listed there, or just look at them in game if you want to. But it looks it's okay. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get it either. My favorite one out of this whole deal, Red, is the let me find what it's called here. The teaming Tetrarch. I don't know how to say that word, but it's dope. I like that one a lot. I think that one's really cool. I don't really like the Red Ripping Hood one too much, man. It's probably, I don't know. I say that out of all these, that's probably my second favorite, and then probably Stonebark would be my third. But I like the teaming one. I haven't bought it yet though, but I'm going to.
Yeah, dude. Well, one of the other things that we have kind of paired with this was the Twitch drop. The New World Adobe collaboration with Shroud was up on Twitch, and you had an opportunity to get that as well. It's a pretty interesting skin as well, like a Syndicate style Plague Doctor as well. It just got like a red glowing eyes on it, like a corrupted version of the skin. But this it began on the 31st. I believe you can get it until, I'm trying to find the actual date here. When did the drops end? They're available until the 28th of April. So quite a while to claim this one, Bordy. But this is also a very, very cool skin. Again, that you're going to get basically for free just watching Twitch.
Yeah, it is a cool skin. I've had it on for a little while. It turned out pretty good. Whenever I seen them designing it, I didn't think it was going to be all that great in game, but whenever you see it in game, it's not bad, man. I don't really like the Plague Doctor mask. I don't really like that style of mask very much, but I'm wearing it anyway. It's all right. Like, I like it. It's not bad.
Yeah, I found it. I kind of found it funny that like the sword skin looks like a weapon from CS:GO or something that you would open up out of a crate.
Yeah.
It's got like that wavy,
Yeah.
It looks out of place a little bit. But yeah, the skin itself is pretty cool. But again, guys, you can find everything that we're talking about and more in the store. So don't forget to check that, because so a lot of this stuff kind of passes through seasonally. So if you do want one of these skins, don't forget to buy it or claim it, because eventually it will be too late, and you will not get your Shroud skin, and you will not get your third looking Peter Pan skin that they put out, or items like the Easter egg or the free black bear pelt rug. That's also in there. I got that in my
free.
Yeah, for my Brightwood house. I know a lot of furniture people did not like that they gave that away for free. I saw that in chat. It was something I think a lot of people were making money off of. And so now I didn't even know there was a bear rug to obtain. But it is there. It is there in the store. Claim that for free. And then, like I said, a bunch of different skins, emotes, and housing items. All right. What the last thing we have to talk about in the news, or was that the last thing? I think
that was it. Yeah.
I lost my page when I went over to look at the skins. All right, boys. Well, let's hop right over, Bordy. We got a lot to talk about today because there's a new patch to the main topic of the week. I can only do one thing at one time. If I do not do that thing at that time, then I can't do it, Bordy. I can't multitask and host. It's not working out very well. The March update is here. I'm gonna go out just off the top of the episode and say this is the best update that New World's ever put out. It's been great, and the player base says it. We're gonna talk a little bit more about that later. It has a lot of people came back for this one, and for good reason, because overall the performance and the amount of content that's available in New World has never been higher. And we got a lot to talk about today, Bordy. Let's just start right from the jump and talk about the player base. We saw a pretty significant rise, like the first actual rise in player base in a long time with this patch. There could be a lot of things that tied with it, whether it's the double XP weekend, the new patch, the new dungeon, all the quality of life changes. It's just overall been a great couple of days for New World.
It has been, man, for sure. And I think one of the most asked questions I get whenever I'm streaming is if people come in there all the time. I've seen this a lot recently. People come into the stream and they ask, "Is it worth coming back?" So I think a lot of people are kind of have the game back on their radar, and obviously the numbers show that people have come back. It's the first uptick in player base that we've seen in a month since New World's launch. So it actually ticked up in players. Not a lot, not a large uptick, but it did tick up in player base. So that's a great thing for the game. And a lot of people are peaked. Their interest is peaked by this new update. And I would agree whenever you say it's the best update they've had to date. I think it is too. It's been very, very good. All the quality of life changes, I think, are the highlight of the patch. Even though we got a new weapon and a new dungeon, I still think the quality of life changes is something to be happy about. And I think a lot of people are praising them. And I really feel like that has a very big impact on bringing players back, maybe more so than the new dungeon and new Blunderbuss. But they're just amazing, man. So many good things in this patch.
Well, I think, to that point, having positive public, facing information is good. Having your streamers and the people that are already dedicating a lot of time to playing your game, having them praise the content in the game definitely helps out. And you brought up, let's just talk about this first, the Blunderbuss, a new weapon. It's a shotgun style weapon. We've talked a lot about it on the show already, but now it's live, Bordy. You and I both have ours to 20 thanks to the double XP weekend. What's your overall impressions of the new weapon in New World and how it feels on live?
I like it, man. I think the weapon's fun. I leveled it up all the way to 20, but I haven't really created a build with it yet because I don't have any like really good blunderbuss to go out and like PvP with. I have used it in PvE some. I did whenever we ran Tempest. I ran a tank blunderbuss build. I think were you in that group whenever I ran the tank blunderbuss build?
Probably.
Maybe you were. Yeah, I don't remember, but it was pretty cool. It was fun. I mean, it worked out okay. You know, it was interesting. It was a lot of fun to play it, and that's probably the extent of my blunderbuss play since it's released. I do have plans to create some builds, some PvP builds with the blunderbuss for sure, and I think there's going to be some interesting ones crop up. Surprisingly though, I have not seen in OPRs, at least on our server or the OPRs I've been in since it released, I haven't seen just a huge influx of blunderbusses. I've seen some people using them for sure, but I figured there would be they'd just be all over the place, and they haven't been. And I think that might be just because people can't get their hands on good ones just yet, maybe. So they don't want to go in there gimped or something. I don't know, but it's been kind of interesting to see that happen. I do think the amount of use of blunderbuss will go up. But I've enjoyed using it. I've had a lot of fun using it, and I'll continue to use it. I'm going to throw it in an actual build once I get my expertise up on it just a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's a very decently skilled weapon.
It is. Yeah.
You do have to have you're firing pretty close to people to do any significant amount of damage with the blunderbuss. The mortar shot is kind of a meme at this point. It doesn't do a ton of damage. It's great for like a large group AoE, but it's not going to like one shot anybody or anything like that. So yeah, you do have to, build your character, I think, around the blunderbuss to make it work for a damage weapon. It does have a ton of utility, which I've seen a lot of people use on their back bar for, the grapple hook and everything like that for gap closing, and they have a knockdown and the net and everything like that. So yeah, there's some interesting things that I think we're going to see over the course of the next 2 months, since that's when the next patch is going to happen with builds with the blunderbuss. I don't think we've seen the extent of it yet, but as of right now, it does feel like that some people are maybe just either trying to get their expertise up or maybe just having trouble fitting the blunderbuss into their build to be effective, because people don't want to go into OPR and get one kill. They got to go back to the bruiser and clean house. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens over time, but overall, I think the weapon's design is great. It's not. It doesn't seem to be like overly tuned in the damage department, at least right now. So I think they did a good job implementing this weapon. I think they might have learned some lessons from the Void Gauntlet and how strong it was right off the jump.
Yeah, here's my prediction, though. I think what's going to happen, I think we're going to have an Ice Gauntlet situation on our hands with the Blunderbuss with the Ice Spike. I think once people learn how to use the Blunderbuss properly and they learn the one-shot mechanic, I think we'll see it a lot more, and I think it will become a problem. I that's just my prediction. Maybe it won't happen. I don't know, but that's my prediction. I think right now on the PTR, whenever you look at the amount of people that use the weapon on the PTR versus the amount of people that actually play the game, there's not very many, right? Like, not tons of people got on the PTR and really min-maxed builds or worked on some things. And I know you and I, Red, seen some pretty crazy things in the PTR. They have nerfed the weapon since then, but I do think there's still going to be some one-shot abilities that come out of this thing. And I just don't think we're seeing them yet, because I don't think people have quite figured it out. I think once they figure it out, I think it could be a little nutty there for a little while. But then to your point, maybe not, because it is a lot higher skill weapon to use. Like with the Ice Gauntlet, there's a lot of CC abilities in there that allow you to hit your one-shot Ice Spike. You have Ice Storm and Ice Shower, and then you just Ice Spike. So you can kind of lock somebody in place and then hit that ability, even though it's a skill shot and it's a little hard to hit. I think the Blunderbuss may be even harder to land that one shot. So maybe we won't see as many as I think, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, it's tough because, and kind of to your original point, I think we might just have an Ice Gauntlet problem. There's something wrong with the weapon to where it's just great axe users are using it, and it's kind of a weird meta right now because there is a problem, not a problem, but with the current design of the 150 intellect perk that you get, like the 15% extra elemental damage, and how they're stacking that with the great axe. Like, there's something broken there that people are taking advantage of that definitely needs addressed. But it's a challenging weapon to balance because it scales completely off of intellect. So your mage weapons already scale pretty poorly with damage compared to like your bruiser. I don't know if you know have ever looked at that, but basically, you know, you look at 300 strength on a great axe versus 300 strength of a fire staff, and that's about a 300 base damage difference.
You mean int?
Yeah,
300 int.
strength.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. The 300 int on a mage weapon versus 300 strength on a brawler are completely different as is. And so, you know, when you start to calculate a bruiser being able to take advantage of the mage perks, there's something going on there. Yeah. So I think that needs to be addressed maybe soon. There's a ton of ice golems in the meta right now. Figuring out what that is important. But yeah, the blunderbuss, I think, scale is like the musket. It's just it's like a short-ranged, more potent version of the musket, because you know you do have to scale those two stats pretty significantly to get that crazy damage output that you're talking about.
Yeah, you do.
And then you're paper thin, survivability wise, and you're having to get in melee range. So I spoke a little bit about this on another podcast, but I always I've been running Blunderbuss Rapier, and basically it's go in, try to one-shot someone. If you fail, you got to get out. You repose and then fletch and then try it again another day. So it's interesting weapon. I think we haven't seen the best of it yet, obviously, but it was fun to mess around with and level up through the double XP weekend. Bordy, which brings us to our next topic, is the double XP. Let's talk about that a little bit here, because I think this is a pretty good example of what an event like this can do for the player base and kind of pull morale and stuff. Again, I'd like to see these timed. I love it timed with a new weapon. I think that was very clever, giving people the double XP to get the blunderbuss up and playing the game and everything like that. But I would love to see more double XP events, man, because I think it does promote players coming back to the game that haven't played in a while to maybe level up the rest of their character to 60.
Yeah, I think events like that are great. And I think seasonal events coupled with double XP events, coupled with all kinds of other stuff, stuff like that's really, really good, man. And it keeps people's interest in the game. It will bring players back to help them get caught up a little bit. And yeah, I thought it went over really well. And
I will say, just the sheer confusion of people when it was like, is it my character? Is it my trade skill? Is it my guild? Is it my company?
Yeah.
Is it my faction? It's like maybe in the future they can try to implement more ways to gain double XP, like maybe through trade skilling and stuff like that. I think gathering, even your faction. I don't know. Like, to me, like the faction was one of the first things I had maxed out. So I don't know how beneficial that is to most players. Maybe it was just like we got one guide and like there's like one person that wanted the faction XP, but yeah, it's expanding the double XP reach, I think, is great for the long-term health of the game, because it helps bring people back during those weekends, I think.
Yeah, I would agree.
So next thing we got to talk about is the Tempest Heart Expedition. Now, we've had a chance to run this several times. Just the regular version, the mutation version hasn't been in rotation yet, so we're kind of waiting for that. But overall, dude, what's your take? I mean, we now have cleared it probably 10 times, I would say. What do you think about the dungeon's difficulty, the rewards, is the overall feel of the Tempest Heart?
So I like the dungeon, man. I think it's pretty fun. I enjoy it. The only complaint I've had, which has been the complaint that I think everyone has had, including myself since the get-go, is just the lack of mob diversity. You have basically Resyn, Scylla in there with Neshiton, but overall it's fun. I mean, the new mechanics are cool. There's some mechanics in there that if you've never ran an invasion, you get to see the laser heads pop up where you shoot out their eyes and all that. It's really cool, man. I very much enjoy this expedition. I hope in future expeditions they have a little bit more mob diversity, and I feel like they will. I feel like this kind of tied up the end of the stories. They kind of used some of the same assets, to kind of, and they pulled a lot of things that we've already seen in the game all into one dungeon, which I think was cool. I think it worked, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. I still enjoy running the dungeons a whole lot, or running that dungeon a whole lot, but I do see people complaining about the difficulty for sure of Neshiton. And man, I don't know, Red. To me, it's like, it's not that bad once you learn the mechanics. You learn the mechanics, so you can go in there, you can clear it pretty quickly. I've seen people doing, like 25-minute clears now in global, and I think it's possible to do those types of clears if you just rush the dungeon. And I think this is the same issue. Like if you remember way back whenever everyone was trying to do Scylla for the first time, like way back when, like in beta or alpha or whenever it was, Scylla was very hard. People couldn't pass that. And then finally people were able to figure out how to do it. And now it's just a piece of cake for most everyone. And I think the same thing will happen with Neshiton. And I, for one, enjoy like the harder mechanics of the game. It makes things a little bit interesting. So having that burn mechanic that lasts and persists throughout the rest of the fight, and you have to dodge those. If you don't position yourself well, you're punished for it. Dude, I like it, man. I think it's fun, and I don't think it's too difficult, and I hope they don't tune it down. I think it should stay right where it is. It's a challenge. Everybody's been screaming for we need more challenging in-game content. Well, here it is, a little bit more challenging, and then whenever they add it, people are saying it's way too hard. Like, no, man, I think it's fine. I like the dungeon where it's at. I think it's an enjoyable experience.
No, I think the difficulty of the dungeon is exactly where it should be for an end game dungeon. I don't think the mechanics are hard to understand. Once you play it a couple times, it's pretty straightforward what you need to do. And yes, it does maybe require you to switch your build a little bit for that fight, which I think is like New World has the opportunity to shine there because of the classless system and everything like that. So I think that brings a new interesting aspect to the game. I think the overall aesthetics of the dungeon are top notch, like 10 out of 10
I do too. They're so good. Yeah.
Design, I thought the boss fights were good. Like the mechanics of the boss fights were interesting. And overall, I just think it's probably the best expedition we have in the game right now. Maybe aside from, some of the ones that haven't been remade into mutations yet. Starstone's a ton of fun. I love the laser part. I think it's a lot of fun, the mechanic and the barrier. And then, of course, the depths is a really cool looking dungeon as well. So, I mean, I just thought they did a great job. I had no complaints about the expedition, the Tempest Heart, except for maybe there was some reward issues, Bordy. There wasn't given the rewards that it was supposed to give. Why don't we talk a little bit more about that now? I guess there was a bug that was causing, well, first the repeatable quest, which is, I don't know how it's supposed to behave on paper, but the chest was only giving like 500 item level rewards for a 550 item level required dungeon. So again, there's something weird there that's going on that doesn't make a ton of sense to me or quite frankly, anybody. I think they had the same problem with the mutations though. Whenever those first came in, and they fixed that, and I think they'll fix this too. I just think it's bugged right now. I don't think it's working properly. I feel like those low 500 items that you're getting out of those tempestuous chests. And I think that's how you say that word. I don't freaking know. Yeah. But those tempestuous chests from doing the repeatable quest, I just feel like that's bugged, and they'll fix it. What I do love about the rewards though is that you get umbral shards from doing this thing. You get an orb, you get a mutated tuning orb from one of the quests, you get a Tempest Heart tuning orb from one of the quests. Like, that stuff's awesome, man. I love the fact they added that stuff in there. The weapons, I think, and armor that you get from those chests, I think will be just fine once they tune them up and put them at the proper gear score. But everything else I think is great, and I love the fact that I can go run these over and over and actually get some really valuable stuff from the repeatable quests. The repeatable quests, yes. Once they fix the boxes, I think you're going to be top notch. Having it makes sense to, in my mind, have a chest like that for the repeatable quest to kind of get an extra roll at a unique set of armor or something. I think that's really cool. One thing I will say that they did a great job of with the Tempest Heart too is the armor that drops in there is actually viable. Like, it's you get excited. I pulled the Blackguard weapons are pretty crazy. A lot of those are very well perked out. What the fudge? They have good perks on them, is what I meant. And then perked out. What the? I don't know. That sounds naughty. I better not say that. Might get the podcast demonetized or something. But basically, like, you know, the perks on the weapons and the armor is actually like, those are good pieces of gear that you get out of there. So
Yeah.
it makes it exciting to get those drops, and you kind of do want to fill out those sets, you know, or get a lot of those set pieces because they are so good. I needed a major ring for a long time, dude, and I got the fanciful earring, and dude, I was on cloud 9, man. It's just cool. And I think that's where MMOs shine is when you get those good drops, man. You're sitting there grinding those dungeons and trying to kill a boss that you know drops a specific piece of loot. And then when you get that loot, dude, that feeling is one that you seek after when you play games like this.
Yeah, I agree. But then you have the problem of crafting, right? So how do you make crafting viable and give really good drops out of dungeons? It's a very difficult balancing act. And the way that crafting is set up right now in New World, I'm not sure how they're gonna do it. They're gonna have to rework some things or do something a little bit differently. I also understand the sentiment of not wanting players to get into like best in slot items like super fast, but you also shouldn't be 1,500 hours into the game and still not have one best in slot set at all. So it's a balancing act, man. I think they need to make it a little bit easier to get some of these items, and I think this is a step in the right direction, because you're right. There's some really good drops out of Tempest Heart. There's some really good weapons that come out of there. There's some good armor that come out of there. Makes you want to go in there and farm this dungeon until you have the whole set of those specific items. And I think that's good, man. I think they're pushing in the right direction here. It's gonna be real interesting to see where they head with the drops versus crafting in the future, and I guess we'll see.
Well, and you bring up a good point, and the problem isn't, I don't think, with the drops that happen in the expeditions, but the problem is that, like, the sheer volume of crafting you need to do to get a good item in any slot is stupid. It's absolute. I mean, I love a good gamble. So I love me some gamba, dude. I am poor in the game because I gamble all the time with rolling gear. But the problem is that I play the game and a pretty crazy amount of hours because I'm a content creator and I have the opportunity to do that. We, you know, obviously have a website, a podcast, a YouTube channel, Twitch channels centered around this game. And I've never rolled a best in slot. I was telling one of our friends in game, he was like, you know, he asked me a question. And I told him, no, dude, I got about like 2 million gold into gambling gear or rolling gear right now. And he's like, no way, dude. There's no way that's true. I'm like, yes, dude. I've been rolling chess pieces, and I spent, you know, when you sit down for a session of a heavy chess pieces, you're going in about 100, 200K every time. And you think about that, you know, how easy it is to earn gold for someone who doesn't own Windsward or Everfall. And dude, it is an insane amount of dedication you need to even try to roll good gear in New World. And I think that's the thing that they need to address next. Don't make me use 10 Iron Guardsman Signia that cost 300 gold apiece to roll one armor. It's just it feels really bad when you roll 10 chess pieces. None are legendary even, let alone viable. And there goes to your month's worth of work in the game. There's something severely wrong with that system, and I think that's where they need to look. You know, keep giving us cool drops in these dungeons and expeditions, making it worth our time, and then figure out the crafting system. Because right now, we love rolling. Rolling's a ton of fun, Bordy. Let us roll more for less gold. I think that's the long-term solution for this.
Yeah. Well, you also have the problem now of they just continue to add perks to the game, right? Yeah. So all of these perks now go into these perk buckets. And so now, so that makes your chances even worse to roll the item that you really want. And it's just it's not good, man. I mean, whenever you're sitting at 1,500 hours and you still don't have one best in slot, like, set of gear, I can't think of any other MMO that I've ever played that you wouldn't at least have a best in slot set of gear after playing that long. You know what I mean? Like, you have multiples. I mean, like in ESO, man, you would already have farmed out so many different builds and so many different sets for playing this long.
This many hours.
Right. But you'd still have stuff you could do and stuff you could farm out. But it's like, man, I understand the sentiment and not wanting people to get into like super awesome gear really, really quickly. I get it, but you also, man, when people are sinking time in the game, I feel like I should already have like a few builds that I could switch between with best in slot gear if I wanted to. Like I have a lot of hours in the game, man, and I don't even have one. I have some best in slot items. I have several, but I don't have one just set. Like for my spear hatchet build, I'm still missing 3 pieces of armor to consider me having a best in slot like set. And I've been working on that thing forever, dude, forever, and I still don't have it. It's like, my goodness. And now you don't have to. You cannot make you can make the argument that, well, you only need a purple, right? You only need 2 good perks on your gear to be really competitive, and that's true. I mean, it's not wrong, but I just want to be able to say I have a best in slot like set. You know what I mean? Like I want to be able to run my spear hatchet and be like, yo, dude, I'm set for good. You know, I don't have to switch. I don't have to switch this out anymore. For what I want to do with this build, I have exactly what I want, and I can't say that still. You know.
Yeah, and honestly, with the current system, you may never be able to say that.
May never be able to say that
because just the amount of time and effort that gets sunk into that. And again, the rolling system is fun. Just let us do it more often by making things either less material intensive, because the cooldown mats are the bottleneck right now, and cooldown mats are you know there's only a small amount of those being injected. Just let us, let that be the gate, right? Not the Iron Guardsman signias and the timeless shards and all the things that, eventually make the cost of an item to roll like 20, 30K. It's like,
or you try to go get like insatiable gravity well on on one of your pieces of armor, and then you have 20 crap rolls in a row before you get a good one, and you've just spent 5K a pop on
that one modifier.
Yeah, let alone all the other materials. Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough.
Yeah, and again, that's like that's my only complaint right now is the state of gearing up. It's games either, I think, Bordy, they go one way or another. They either shower you with loot and you just get so much volume that you're bound to find something good that can help you get to what you need to get, or it's very refined. Like if you want this weapon, you go here. And you get you farm this drop, and New World has that going on with it, but the showering and loot, I think, could be how crafting works. I think it'd be very fun to open up the gates and let people craft items. And yeah, sure, they may have 20 good rolls, but at least they should be able to do that more frequently to try to get the item that they want. And I think that goes with the crafting mods right now are the big time gate, unfortunately.
Yeah, for sure. I think that all goes back still, though, that the game is still in its infancy, very much so, and it's getting better and better and better. This Tempest Heart update with the difficulty and the rewards for this particular dungeon, I think, is most definitely a step in the right direction, and I like where it's headed.
Yes, that system or that particular dungeon is great. Hopefully they can maybe go back and adjust some other things as well. But I would say the 4 main dungeons, the Dynasty, Lazarus, Garden of Genesis, and now Tempest Heart, they all have some drops that you would farm out and seek after. I think, I think they're doing okay there. Just doing more of that while also keeping crafting viable is the challenge. Next, but I think we've pretty much beat that dead horse a couple times. Let's go on and move on to one of the things that I think is the pinnacle of this patch, which is the quality of life stuff, dude. This patch made New World more fun to play, not just with adding a new expedition and a new weapon, but just with the overall quality of life standards that it's set.
Yes.
Dude, I called this on the episode where we were saying the number one thing I was looking forward to, and that was storage, dude. The storage changes, and dude, it held true. Every time I get into my storage now, I get a little bit of a smile on my face, dude, because I know I can do whatever. It's no longer a barrier to my fun in the game.
Yeah, it's so much better. So much better. What I found myself doing now, Red, is I gather more. While I'm out running around, I'll gather a lot more stuff because I know whenever I go to a storage, I can just put it where it needs to go, right? Like I don't have to spend 2 hours of my day trying to figure out where to put my stuff or whatever. And so that was like a very off-putting for like me wanting to gather stuff as I play the game. Well, now I just gather everything because I know I can just go easily manage it. It's so good, man. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's it's easy to say that it should have been this way at launch, but this system definitely feels like it belongs in a game like New World when you have like probably like thousands of items to obtain in the game. Having room for those and not having to manage manage your inventory on a regular basis, which was like a daily struggle at some point for awful. A lot of people.
Yeah,
it feels fantastic, dude. Another thing that was great, I think that they changed is being able to queue OPR anywhere, dude.
So good, man. It's a change we've been screaming for a very long time, and now it's in the game. It is absolutely amazing. It just makes things so much better, man. It's so good. You can go explore the world and then queue up. It's so good, man. It's so nice. I love it.
Yeah, and really, like, obviously, I think a lot of us had anticipated that new game mode such as Arena would be added to the game, but this is great to have in before a big feature like that gets introduced into the game.
Yes,
because now it gives people, I don't know, it makes sense, right? It just makes sense for me to not have to run up to a vendor in between OPRs when you might have to wait for a queue or something. It just feels great. Another thing that they added, obviously, is the increased storage across the board. Now, there's a problem with that right now that hopefully I would hope they can get fixed soon. And that is like there's a problem with your chest and setting in your house and how you have to kind of pick them up and place them every time. But overall, dude, I think the increase of the storage along with the inventory management is a great thing.
Yeah, I think that all of the quality of life fixes has been the highlight of this for me, for sure. I think I said it earlier in the podcast, and I'll say it again. Like Tempest Heart and Blunderbuss, awesome additions content-wise, but the very much the highlight has been quality of life. And I really think that players that return to the game see these quality of life fixes and things that were just like so brutal. And people that haven't been back since you've been able to fast travel with very little Azoth, that on top of all of this other stuff that they've added, and dude, it's so good. And you made a fantastic point before the podcast. You were talking about how adding all these things now before they have like a really big push of content later on and maybe get a big influx of players in is like the absolute play. This is absolutely the kind of the steps I would like to see taken before they push out like a huge marketing campaign or something and try to bring a lot of people back like towards the end of this year. Get all these small things fixed to make the game just feel good. And right now, to me, New World it just feels good to play. It's just so much. Man, it's like night and day playing this game now from playing it at launch. It's so much better.
It's never felt better, and that's the truth. So good. Yeah. That's the truth. And to your point, I think obviously April is going to be another pass of quality of life things. To me, like the only blaring thing that I see that is like a real hindrance of the game is the crafting in the gearing department, right? Crafting armor and stuff like that. Hopefully they resolve that. They maybe take a look at the rewards for dungeons, specifically the mutations. I would love to see them fix the drops there. Like how I don't like how none of the mutation specific gear sets or a lot of the gear sets in those can't drop legendary. I think that's a missed opportunity. And then, dude, you have a loot pinata game that just the combat feels second to none, and the design, the sound design, the appearance is second to none, dude. You're getting ready to establish one of the most requested systems in the game in May, which is arenas, and then leading up into fall, where then you're gonna have ranked competitive PvE and PvP. Like this stretch and getting everything locked in and before that time could spell very well. It's crucial. Or crucial, right? It could be very bad.
Yeah. So did you see? There's one more thing I think we should address before we wrap this thing up, and that's the post they posted out on the forums and the dev blog about the desync issues. Have you read that post yet?
No. Oh, yes. But go ahead.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. They posted it on April 1st, and it was not an April Fool's thing. This is for real. It was talking about the desync issues and about how they've been addressing them. And it just says that they're aware that the desync issues is hindering your ability to enjoy New World, and that with the Heart of Madness release, they put in some major fixes to address desync issues, and they'd like to take a moment to talk about them. And so they just kind of talk about what desync is and why it's happening. And then they also talk about the optimizations they put in during Heart of Madness. And then they talk about that's not going to fix the whole problem, and they know that, and they're working on fixes in the future as well to make the gameplay more fluid, to fix the lag, to fix the desync. And this post right here, man, gave me so much joy whenever I read it, because this has been it's so awful. The desync and all the lag, it really does hinder the experience of the game. And if they can get this fixed, dude, I think it's going to be excellent. And I have felt the difference in this patch as well in OPR. I don't know if you have or not, Red. But
absolutely. Yeah,
I've definitely noticed a difference in the desyncing. There is still some lag. You can tell it's still not perfect, but it has gotten a lot better. And man, I was super excited whenever I seen them post this. It's so good.
Yeah, it really is. And it's crucial, like you said, to get that right before arenas. Because that is such a small scale, skill intensive game mode that if people see that the performance is the reason they're not doing well, it's not going to be great. Not going to be great.
Yeah.
So hopefully they can figure that out. But overall, man, again, the game is in a great place. It's been just a lot of fun being part of the community the past couple of days and playing New World and being proud to be a content creator for the space, because the game is in a great place at the moment.
It is.
All right, Bordy. Well, that about does it for the main topic. Again, just a great patch. If you guys are kind of contemplating or sitting on the fence whether when to come back, if you've been away from the game for a while, now's not a bad time. It's in the best place that it's ever been in. So come back early and start, spending millions of gold rolling a set of armor for arenas in May, just like the rest of us. All right. All right, Bordy. Well, let's get on over to the company of the week. All right, man. We'll take it away with the company of the week.
Yeah, our company of the week this week is Syndicus Immortals. So they are a U.S. West company. Their faction is Syndicate, and it says they're an active community that's based in the U.S. West region, but they accept members globally that like that schedule. It says they are made up of competitive veteran MMO players along with content creators such as live streamers, musicians, writers, and even a radio station. Wow, that's interesting. And it says they support each other. They're an adult gaming guild, and there will be content of an adult nature from time to time. So they ask that all members be 18 years old or older. Did I say that right?
18 years or older?
18 years, whatever. You know what I mean? Jeez. It says that sometimes they do not want to censor themselves because they are a mature community. So they want you to be mature and act like a mature adult while you're in there. It says they are a casual guild. It says what this means is that they acknowledge real life always comes first. Said they want to be competitive. It says they are a competitive, hardcore bunch of players, but they're trying to stop and smell the flowers outside once in a while. And of course, most of them do still have work and school. So they have presented themselves as more of a casual guild than a hardcore guild. So if you're interested in that, if you're interested in just going and having a fun time and hanging out with a good group of people, sounds like Syndicus Immortals might be for you. So make sure you go check them out. We'll link their description or we'll put a link to their guild listing or guild description everywhere this podcast can be found.
Yes, we're thankful for them and all of our Patreon for posting their company up there on New World Fans. If you guys have a company and want to promote it, don't forget to go over there and create an account. And do so. We thank you guys from newworld-map.com, from newworldfan.com, from Studio Loot. We thank you guys so much for promoting everything that we do and supporting us in this aspect as well as the podcast. We're very grateful for you guys' support. We're here and very proud to be here in the New World space for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast and the content. Let us know in the comments below what your favorite thing was in the March update. And until then, guys, we will see you on another episode of New World to Go.